Dear viewers, welcome to another video in the series of Minitab tutorials. In some of our previous videos, we have explained about scatter diagram, matrix diagram, correlation coefficient, and how the concept of correlation works. I will share you the list of videos with their link in the description so that you can understand the fundamentals of these concepts. In today's video, we are going to understand how the same correlation coefficient for one pair of x and y can be calculated in Minitab, and how the same correlation coefficient can also be calculated for a multiple pairs of x's for a y can be calculated. So let's get into the video. As I was explaining in the introduction, we have posted separate videos on how correlation can be calculated in Excel, how correlation as a concept works, what do we mean by positive and negative correlation. However, in this video, we are going to understand how correlation can be calculated in Minitab. So I click on stats and I go to basic stats. I have correlation. So now if you see correlation, it measures the strength and the direction of the linear relationship between two variables. So it can be used for two variables and it can also be used for multiple variables. To start with, let's select tenuity of data and dollar value sold per person in a per day in a supermarket. So when I select these two options, I can click on options and I can say what correlation I want, and generally we go for Pearson correlation. The confidence interval or the confidence level is calculated based on 95% confidence level, and we say store correlation matrix. Then we click on OK. Then we go to graph. In graph, already matrix plot is already selected, and once the matrix plot is selected, because the reason why matrix plot is selected, because if you are having multiple x's, then we need a matrix plot. Otherwise, a simple scatter diagram would be more than enough. And then you have an option where what are the things that you would like to calculate. So if you see here, you have correlation and p-value, correlation and intervals, no statistics. So we can go for correlation and its corresponding confidence intervals. So this is what I am selecting. And what type of matrix plot would you like? We generally prefer the lower left matrix plot. So that is what is being selected. Now I click OK. Now I can come to results, and results I already have put a tick mark on the method, the correlation matrix, and pairwise correlation table. These are all selected. However, since we are going to do only a 2 by 2 matrix, that is one set of x with one set of y, these things are irrelevant now. I will explain it when I'm doing it for a multiple sets of x on a single y. So as of now, I click OK and then I click OK. So what do I get? I get a simple single scatter diagram, and for that scatter diagram, what is the corresponding correlation coefficient and what is the confidence interval for the correlation coefficient that get displayed. How many data points were used, that data is also available. And similarly, what is the x metric, what is the y metric, and then number of data points, correlation value, its corresponding interval, and its corresponding p-value. So these are all the information that you have when you do this correlation analysis in Minitab for one x and one y. However, when you do the same analysis, when I click on stats, I go to basic stats and I go to correlation. This time I'm going to remove this data and I'm going to add thickness as my first metric. And then I have all these x's which I think is impacting my thickness. So coming back in options, again I'm going to have Pearson as the method. 95% will be my confidence level. And graph, I have selected the matrix plot lower left. I want correlation and intervals, so that is what I want. I can click OK. And finally in the results column, I can say method, correlation matrix, and pairwise correlation table. So this correlation matrix and pairwise correlation table, we will understand how does it work, because we are now dealing with multiple x's on a single y. We will have a better idea of all these options. Now when I click, to start with, I get a matrix plot with lower left where I have thickness here and I have vacuum pressure. So thickness versus vacuum pressure, film density versus vacuum pressure, tensile strength versus vacuum pressure. So I'll be able to understand the individual scatter diagrams as a matrix plot, and then for each of this I will be able to know what will be my correlation value and what will be my corresponding confidence interval, right? For this correlation value, R is my correlation value and this is the corresponding confidence interval. And I'll be able to copy this and paste it in my PowerPoint presentation and highlight those pairs where there is a strong correlation. From the correlation value as well as from the scatter plot, we will be able to understand it. Now if I close it and if I scroll down, I get how many, the number of rows used. So number of rows used is depending upon number of data points that we have taken. And then you have a correlation matrix. This correlation matrix gives you the correlation coefficient in a matrix form. So generally thickness, film density, so you have your x-axis and y-axis values here, and based on this is getting calculated. And finally if you see pairwise, so this is individually. So here you have seen the values as a matrix, here you are seeing the values as a table, and in this table you will find all the combinations that we have looked for, and in that combination what is the corresponding correlation value and what is the corresponding confidence interval for that correlation value and what would be the p value. So friends, I hope this video was helpful. As I was explaining in the introduction, similar concepts on what is called a matrix plot, what is called a scatter plot, what is correlation coefficient, and there is also one another plot which is a new introduction in Minitab 19 onwards, which is nothing but what you see here is a, so this option, the correlogram. So the correlogram, I have posted a separate video which talks about how is your correlation coefficient along with the scatter plot that we have. And we also have something called binned scatter plot, which is also going to tell you where there is strong concentration of data points. These are few things on which we have already made video, which is somewhat, the topic is similar to what we have discussed in this video. So I'll give the description of these two separate graphs, which is nothing but correlogram as well as your binned scatter plot. So I will give you the videos link for these two videos also in the description of this video. So I hope this video was helpful for you to understand how the correlation analysis is being made. So we are planning to post a separate video similarly how a covariance analysis is being made on single x and single y as well as multiple x's impacting single y. So that will be our next video. We will post that video as well so that it will be useful for you to understand. In this video, I hope you are all familiar how the graph gives you an interpretation of what is the level of correlation, what is the strength of correlation, and below each graph, if I maximize it, below each graph you will be able to see the correlation value and their corresponding confidence interval. I hope this video was useful for you. For more videos on Lean Six Sigma tools and techniques and more videos on Minitab tools and techniques and data analytics and statistical application, kindly subscribe our channel. We are planning to post more videos in these topics, especially on data analytics. We have a separate playlist on data analytics where we are talking about how data analysis can be done with Excel. So if you do not have Minitab, but some of these things if you want to do using Excel, we are planning to have a separate playlist. So we have added few videos on the playlist. Please do check out for that particular playlist as well. Thanks for your time. See you in another video.